Like everything, productivity habits that work for one person are different for another. I like to adjust mine according to my priorities. So for example, this year, I wanted to make sure that my productivity habits aligned with me balancing being a full-time consultant, maintaining and keeping up with my professional organizations. Big one for me this year was being more consistent on YouTube, balancing healthy habits like exercising, eating right, spending time with my friends and family, as well as keeping up with my hobbies like painting, being creative, reading. And then I also added this year planning a wedding. So let me walk you through the productivity habits that have helped me figure out how to fit all of these in the 24 hours that we have in a day, and how these productivity habits have helped me save a lot of time. Really, I can truly account for at least 12 to 20 hours a week being saved because of my productivity habits. First one, prep and strategy. When I have a very large tasks that are all due as soon as possible that essentially make me feel extremely overwhelmed and I don't know where to start, I sit down and write a step-by-step action plan that really lays out even the minute details, like next step is writing the email and setting up the call. Really a step-by-step plan for myself for the overwhelming amount of work. I don't care if it feels like I'm taking an hour or two where I could have been doing the task. I'd like to make sure that I plan and strategize on how I'm going to execute it before I dig into the details. This helps me not only be more efficient completing the task because I'm essentially not going to be spinning my wheels when I do a task, but it's almost like a checklist of all the small things that I can check off to get me through whatever I need to do. So essentially, I become almost a robot. It's almost automatic because I'm checking off things off the list, getting me through the task and getting me through the map of how to do this. So it makes me way more efficient versus spinning my wheels when I'm trying to figure it out, right? I have a strategy in place on how to get through a task. Even if it took me an hour or two to do that in the morning or at the beginning of the week, I like to do it because it'll save me 8 hours of spinning my wheels. My next productivity habit is building tools around repetitive tasks that require constant change. So when I was only doing engineering, I would build these models that would make my life so much easier. I don't know if you've heard the quote where it goes something to the effect of, if I have 8 hours to cut down a tree, I'm going to spend 6 of those hours sharpening my axe. That's kind of how I see this. I used to spend so much time building my tools so that they were set up to automatically update things. So for example, if I built a model, that model was linked to my calculations. It was linked to whatever else the deliverable needed an update based on this model, and it was automatic. So I built the model with all these links so that when I updated something, it went across all the systems. So I didn't have to spend all those extra hours updating all these other systems that came from the model because I made sure that my tool was working the way it was supposed to be working. It also worked for when things were changing, constantly changing, that when a change would come in, I would simply have to push a button or update something real quick, and it would get pushed through the entire model and through the rest of the deliverables and the calculations. So I would spend a lot of time on my models and my tools, and this translated across, my calculations, the spreadsheets that I used. I used to create these really in-depth templates that I would spent potentially 80 hours up front on, but it would save me so much time through the deliverable process. Nowadays, I don't get to do much of the engineering and the tool building anymore, but I still follow the same habit where I create these systems in place that help me be way more productive. Now it has more to do with creating templates for budgets, org charts, a lot of flow charts for some reason. Essentially, this has stopped me from reinventing the wheel every time something new comes up. So I truly believe in spending a lot of time up front to set yourself up for success that saves you so many hours in the long run. My next habit is learning the power of time leverage. What it means is try not to fall into the trap of being so busy that you don't have time to teach someone and delegate certain aspects of your job or your tasks. Early on in my career, I learned that if I invested 1 hour to teach someone how to do a certain task that could be taken off my plate, that was leveraging their time in order to work as a team much more productive. And yes, sometimes it is an investment because you will have to spend that time teaching them, and then, it's a learning curve. A lot of times there's going to be mistakes that you're going to have to fix and teach them what they did wrong before they can become truly efficient. But that's okay, because in the long run, it is so worth it. They save so much of your time because you can trust them to do whatever task. You can delegate with much more trust. And as they learn, you can delegate even more. So you really got to learn to leverage other people's times and stop thinking that you're the only person that can do this task, because that's not true. You just got to learn how to teach and how to delegate and how to ensure that you leverage the time resource that you as a team have, right? Because as a team, you'll become way more productive if you learn how to do this, especially with tasks that other people want to do and want to have the opportunity to take on that you've been doing forever, and it's no longer a challenge. And leveraging their time can help you move on from that task and think about, aspects of the job that require more of your attention. So, big one. Learn how to delegate, learn how to leverage your team's time. My last one is multitasking. Okay, so I can't multitask. There's no way I could pay attention to a meeting and at the same time be over here monitoring my email and responding to email. If I'm doing that, I've completely lost whatever happened in the meeting. It's not possible for me. I'm sure there are people who can, but I had to be very real with myself and kind of, just understand that I was not that person. So for example, Fridays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., I have back-to-back meetings. And that means my email does not get looked at until way later in the afternoon. And people get kind of surprised that I haven't seen an email that they potentially sent me in the middle of the morning. And now it's, 1 p.m. and I haven't looked at it. And it's because I'm so focused on the meetings, the back-to-back meetings that I'm having, that potentially I can see that emails are coming in, but no way I could read those and pay attention to what's actually happening. However, there is a certain form of multitasking that has helped me a lot. And that's multitasking during tasks that don't require so much of your focus. So that's really easy to do. I catch up with my friends on this app called Marco Polo, where we leave each other long video messages just talking about our lives and what's happening, so we get to catch up. But those messages are stored so that you can open them at a time where it works for you, right? So you're not doing the scheduling with your friends like, can you do it 6 p.m.? Can you do a video call at 7 p.m.? Oh no, you can't do it today. How about next month? Which is essentially what happens because we're all so freaking busy. So Marco Polo has made it so easy for me and my friends to leave each other long messages. And then during my commute, I just turn them on. I get to listen to them and then I get to respond to them. And they do the same when it works out for them. So it's so efficient. I do it when I'm commuting, on the train, walking, whatever it is. Another big one is I love talking to my mom when I'm doing chores, whether that's doing the laundry, washing the dishes, whatever it is. I love calling my mom when I'm doing chores or catching up with anybody when I'm doing chores because it's a mindless task that you can just do and you catch up with your friends. I also really like to read while I'm on the treadmill. I either like to read or watch longer YouTube videos while I'm on the treadmill. That's when I catch up with the people that I like to watch on YouTube. It keeps my focus while I'm doing something that I don't really like, which is walking and running. And it's really entertaining and it's a way to, fit in. Sometimes I'll walk for an hour and that's how I can fit in reading. I read for an entire hour while on the treadmill. And then, The usual ones. Listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook while you're commuting, while you're doing mindless tasks. That is really the way that I get to maintain healthy communication with my friends and family. And at the same time, I get to do the reading that I want to do. The only times that I can't multitask doing mindless things like that is when I'm painting, because I don't see painting or being creative, doing whatever I'm doing as a mindless task. That's something that I see as being mindful. I use it more as almost like meditating, honestly. All right, that's it. Those are the 4 productivity habits that I cannot live without and that help me balance my very crazy lifestyle. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.